How did that gonna interview? How did that gonna interview? You're watching me right now? Are you watching me right now? The person who clicked on this video, you're watching me right now? I was just singing "All My Life" by J. Cole and Lil Durk. It's fine. It's fine. Let's just it's fine. It's fine. We about to watch The Curse of Creativity by How to Human. Let's jump into it.
There's something inside me. I don't know what it is. What I see nobody else sees, and sometimes it frightens me. I think I'm losing my mind.
In the world of man, there are some individual characteristics that we all as a collective deeply value and hold high in our esteem.
Is this uh is that Impractical Jokers?
One of those traits that is at the forefront of nearly all advancements in all human societies throughout history is creativity. Creative people have always been responsible for all innovations and leaps in human endeavors, whether it be in the domain of arts that serves as a catalyst for human beauty in physical form, in our philosophies which shape the nature of our thoughts and identities, or in technology and the sciences that have uplifted us from the status of hairless chimps to the half-grown meat-cooking creatures we are now. Because you see, no chimp has ever been observed to cook meat, and that is for a very simple reason. Chimps are by design extremely dumb, to the point where they can't fathom the concept of using fire to make meat more digestible. And that is exactly why they suck.
You should be. Damn, you don't have to bash the chimp like that. I was just gonna say call it a limp, but it will be cool. But damn, you didn't have to say they suck.
More digestible. And
he has this whole category literally for saying chips are dumb. Ow.
Why they suck, you are better. It is then no wonder why we think creativity is the holy grail in terms of value. The thing we omit and forget though is that nearly all truly highly creative people will live miserable lives of unending struggle where they try to make something out of that quote-unquote gift they were given, but never ascend to a level where they are half recognized for it. Creativity is also highly correlated with psychosis and many psychological disorders. Just think of the tortured artist concept. It isn't a coincidence that a nice chunk of all creative geniuses suffered from extreme levels of mental illness. So, if we truly consider the cost-benefit ratio in this situation, being creative in the real world is either a tiny negligible chance of ascending to the highest societal achievements in any given field and being nearly worshipped for it, or, in a far more likely, realistic sense, being rolled by life for decades on end until the creativity is literally beaten out of you. Knowing all this, you might then get pushed to question the strange phenomena that is behind the creative person, which is, what is creativity? The way we usually think about it is heavily tied with a sense of novelty. We associate creativity with originality and deviation from the norm. The thing is, that somehow overlaps with our definition of insanity as well. So, we have an implied expectations of those novel thoughts and ideas to somehow make sense, to be useful. There has to be a certain sense of structure and understanding to it, no matter the field, even in art. If you paint something.
Okay, so does the creative does the creative process only? I mean, I know I shouldn't be saying something this stupid, but does it stop at art being creatively? Does it stop at art, or does it transcend to like probably say YouTube, well, like what you do with YouTube, music, shit, books, anime? Like, does it transcend to that, or does it try to confine itself to art? Because that's what I've always been curious about the thought of creativeness. Like, does it, but like, do people try to confine it into one single thought or room like art, knowing that it can be music, books, anime, games, like, because when you think of artists, people who create in the music world, that doesn't. I don't even think it means the same thing in the music world. The word artist. Me, I see the word artist as somebody who creates. Creates. And the art people who consider people artists, they don't necessarily create, in my opinion, like a story. Like they're not creating an actual story that people want to follow along and break down and try to come up with all these different like interpretations of what the story may be. Like Kendrick Lamar, he considered a rapper, but in actuality, that nigga's an artist. He's an artist. The shit he does, he's an artist. But people consider Lil Durk and probably Lil Yachty or Drake artists when I don't know, when they're not really creating anything, in my honest opinion. So that's what I'm asking. Is like, where does the line cross? Because this is more or less still talking about artists, people who draw from from the movie that's on the screen. I'm pretty sure it's an artist. It's a drawing. It's an artist movie. But there was also some clips about music, creatively making music. So yeah,
We're seeing, but no
it's
one
funny
recognizes.
because people consider Michael Jackson an artist. That boy was an artist though. Not probably not in the same view as of making stories in his songs, even though he was. But even not in that sense. But like what he was doing performance wise, he was making art. That was creative as shit for the stuff that he was
The
doing.
beauty or value of, then you're no longer creative despite the originality of the thing you did. Recognizes even in art. If you paint something no one has ever seen but no one recognizes the beauty or value of, then you're no longer creative despite the originality of the thing you did create. Which means there is a subjective recognizable value to creativity and it is shared between human minds, or at least between few specific creative human minds. It is like a human frequency for creativity.
Like
That is
the
what
art
makes
part, it's like these niggas be drawing a bunch of bullshit for real. They be drawing a bunch of bullshit. Like Picasso, he was just throwing splatter of paint on a fucking canvas. And that was shit, and that shit was considered art. But he was the most revered artist to ever touch the earth. But it's like he's saying that, but Picasso really did that. Like nobody could understand what the fuck he was writing or drawing, but it was considered beautiful, creative art. But when but what he literally said is that if nobody recognizes or recognizes the value, then it's not really creativity no more. But didn't Picasso do the same shit? Like who was gonna recognize this, the beauty of that, when it was just splatters of paint? But of course, years later, people were noticing. I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
which means there is a subjective recognizable value to creativity and it is shared between human minds, or at least between few specific creative human minds. It is like a human frequency for creativity. That is what makes movie, painting and music critics legit in a sense. We trust them to judge the legitimacy of the creative claim of the supposedly creative thing, and somehow they truly reflect that, and by truly I mean they're right more times than not. As proof, I and most people I assume trust the IMDb rating of movies. Using this understanding,
Not
creativity
necessarily, but
trust
you
the
got me interested
more
on,
times
on,
than
on,
not.
on these movies.
As proof, I and most
Silence of the Lamb. I don't gotta read. I don't gotta be able to speak Italian or French to know what these are. Terminator. That literally says Terminator 2.
people I
Psycho. Parasite. That's art. Gladiator.
assume
American X History. The Protege.
trust the IMDb
Unusual Suspects. Classic Casablanca. Wow.
rating of movies.
Memento. Apocalypse Now. Alien. Wally. Django Unchained is 55th And Wally is literally 57th. Wow.
Using
The Shining, Avengers Infinity War, Aliens, again, Spider Man New Generation. Wow. And these are probably the top 100 highest rated movies. I don't know. It will be hard for me to rate these movies because Dark Knight Rises is tough. American Spider Man, that's first easily. But
understanding, creativity,
Joker is all the way down to 76. The first Toy Story is 74. Wow. Inglorious Bastards is 71.
be boiled down to two processes. One, the process of seeing things outside the box. That is why I referred earlier as originality. But the problem is, if you only have originality, or if you have a surplus of originality, you have a heightened ability to be aware of chaos. Creativity is by its nature an enhanced, broader, deeper access to chaos, the formless and shapeless. If you only have originality, or if you have a surplus of originality, you have a heightened ability to be aware of chaos. Creativity is by its nature an enhanced, broader, deeper access to chaos, the formless and shapeless, the disorganized, limitless set of possibilities, with no promise of meaning or reason. The nature of creativity is for its wielder to exist to a certain extent in the realm of chaos, as it bears a certain number of unintended consequences. If you have access to chaos, chaos has also access to you, which is rightfully as scary as it sounds. Chaos makes the creative person able to see far more possibilities than the normal person, but it also makes his identity fragmented. It makes it harder to have a stable, firm identity, to know who he is,
Wow.
because of his relationship with the limitless set of possibilities of existence. Being a conduit for novelty makes who we are by proxy or by nature a very adaptable thing. You have to be shapeless and malleable to access the shapeless realm, and for that realm to also access you.
Oh, I
Meaning that
see.
you cannot just shut it down.
I see. If you don't have a shape, then how do you really know yourself if you have no shape your own? Yeah, I understand now. Him saying that is what sparked it for me. Because if you want to see if you want to see the shapeless, you have to be unshaped. Then you have to be shapeless. So if you don't have a shape, like a whole form, your own form, then you can't necessarily see the shapeless. But if you break off pieces, boom, boom, cat gradually you're becoming shapeless, seeing chaos.
It is a part of who you are. Some people have a tiny small window into the chaotic realm, and some others have a giant fucking hole in the wall. And in that instance, you will find people with psychological disorders. That chaos overwhelms them, and they can't make sense of it. As I said earlier, there is two processes to being a creative person. The second process is structuring novelty, giving it shape and form, making it understandable and shareable in physical reality. I'm not sure if you get what I'm trying to get at here. What this means is that creative people don't have the gift of novelty.
Creative geniuses have mastered the ability to combine the divergent and convergent thinking skills to continually produce innovative and novel ideas. A true creative genius is marked not only by the critical thinking skills, but also their ability to ideate and create.
Have a great ability for turning unusually large amounts of chaos into order. Creative people are, in that sense, touched by God in the symbolic meaning of the word. That gift, though, doesn't ensure protection from its side effects, which leads me to think that creativity is not in the benefit of the individual, but the group. Nature has figured out that creativity is highly beneficial for the tribe, and so it creates a few dozen creative people, knowing that in all likeliness, only one of them will benefit the tribe by his creativity and be rewarded for it. So the creative individual is a sacrificial pawn for the advancement of the tribe. Nature hasn't figured out how to create a form of pure, useful, case-by-case creativity, which we don't even know if it's possible, since creativity by its nature is an inability to be bound and narrow. So how can you create?
That is true though, because the people who created the airplane, that innovation is now a very high transportation. Is now a very high source of transportation. Cars are as well. Batteries, light bulbs. What he's saying is very true because literally these innovations, these creative people who made these things, they're used every fucking day. Shit, their phone. That's the most used thing is the phone. That's crazy.
Which type of creativity will be useful in any given environment? Timeline. Try. Well, the answer is, which is a messy but still the only answer you could come up with, you disperse a certain amount of creativity among a given low percentage of individuals of a population, and you hope one of those individuals, through the filter of the genetic randomness that makes them themselves, will actually bring about useful creative work to the world. And yes, in all likeliness, the other creative individuals will be fucked, but that's a small price to pay for the benefit creativity brings on a large scale. And I know this because I could just probe into my own mind and see this thing manifest. I have always thought and been able to see things I couldn't make sense of, meaning I had more chaos than I could manage. The only way I have a slight fighting chance against my novel thoughts is through writing, but even writing is still hard. I can't get truly to what I think. I can't structure it in the way I want it to. I need to spend a lot of time revising and narrowing down, over and over, in order for what I write to start being organized and make sense. But even the finished product is still far more chaotic than I'd like it to be. If we think about it this way, it makes sense that only a small minority of people are truly creative. The price you pay for novelty is extremely high. It's a high risk, high reward trait, and natural selection only makes enough of them to ensure the survival of the tribe, since they are needed at scale. As I've said earlier, they are at the forefront of our species evolving and adapting, but the closer you get to the individual level, the more creativity starts to break down when you consider the cost-benefit ratio. Nature produces just enough of them to ensure the success of a few, which is enough. So, as a bottom line, creative people are sacrificial pawns in the Darwinian game for survival. Now I'm joking. Of course I'm not ending it all that. I mean, I nearly did and changed my mind at the last minute. But the fact is, despite knowing the cynical, cruel nature of creativity, I'm still here, writing and fighting for my nature to be expressed. And I'm doing it because it gives me fulfillment. Even if only a few hundred people watch this, I'm still delighted that I get to share whatever this is with you. Just the fact that a few people would truly enjoy this is mind-blowing to me. And yes, I'm doing this in the hopes that at some point I'll have more people watching, but I wouldn't be able to write and make this content if the end goal was the only thing that mattered. And then I find myself asking, would someone uncreative, undreamy, uneccentric, be able to ever feel this way about their work? The average person wouldn't get ever to feel this type of connection to the universe, existence. Call it whatever you want. Whatever creativity ties our being to is beyond beauty. The average person wouldn't get to have this given meaning in their life. And yes, perhaps they do suffer less, but life isn't about avoiding suffering, but finding something worth to suffer for. So, despite my curse, I feel blessed.
Wow. That has such very philosophical vibes to it. Like that ending, that ending got me. If y'all could see, I really just stopped talking because like that shit is crazy. It was making a lot of sense. So him saying, okay, so him saying, let me hold on. Come on, bro. He said,
I'm not sure if you get what I'm trying to get at here. What this means, which leads me to think that creativity is not in the benefit of the individual, but the group. Nature has figured out that creativity is highly beneficial for the tribe, and so it creates a few dozen this creativity and be rewarded for it. So the creative individual is a sacrificial pawn for the advancement of the tribe. Nature hasn't figured out how to create a form of pure, useful, case-by-case creativity, which we don't even know if it's possible, since creativity by its nature is an inability to be bound and narrow. So how can you predict which type of creativity will be useful in any given environment? Timeline. Try. Well, the answer is, which is a messy but still the only answer you could come up with, you disperse a certain amount of creativity among a given low percentage of individuals of a population, and you hope one of those individuals, through the filter of the genetic randomness that makes them...
oh yeah, I remember now. So he said a person who is creative has a hard time structuring novelty. Okay, hold on.
themselves will actually bring about useful creative work to the world. And yes, in all likeliness, the other creative individuals will be fucked. But that's a small price to pay for the benefit creativity brings on a large scale. And I know this because I can just probe into my own mind and see this thing manifest. I have always thought and been able to see things I couldn't make sense of, meaning I had more chaos than I could manage. The only way I have a slight fighting chance.
Okay, so he didn't necessarily say what I thought he said, but he still said it in a way I thought he said. So he said, because he's so creative right now, that's why he does his writing, that so does a less creative person, average creative person, or just an average person in general, are they able to articulate shit better? Is or I can't even explain it. So, is a less creative person or an average person, average Joe, are they able to articulate shit better because they don't have a lot of chaos or creativity within them? Or the pathway to chaos ain't as big because I don't know why. Is that why? So are they able to articulate, stuff better than somebody who has more?
Yes,
I kind of feel like a contradiction though, because shouldn't somebody who has less chaos struggle more with creativity than a person who has more chaos? But I get it, because he said the more chaos you have, the harder it is to manage it. But it's like it's still complicated because yeah, you got more, so it's harder to handle. That's why you use these avenues and these outputs to you know do to release the chaos, so it's not overwhelming you. But with that, since you have so much, shouldn't it be easier? Because it's just flowing out of you. It's just flowing out. Like freestylers, people who freestyle like Lil Wayne. He's not a freestyler. He's a rapper, artist. But he freestyles because he said that he has so much in his head. So does that mean he has a large pathway to chaos? Because to him it comes easily. It comes natural. I guess because he's been rapping for a while, so it just the words just come out like smooth. Like he doesn't really have a hard time articulating. But and I've been okay. Yeah, so should it be easier? That's just an example. Shouldn't it be easier for the creative process to go through since you have so much and you have a way to get it out than a person who has a less chaos? I don't know.
For thoughts is writing, but even writing is still hard. I can't get truly to what I think. I can't structure it.
Is it because you have so much in your head, so much chaos that you have this right here, even though it should be right here, but it's right here, so you want to make sure it makes its way to there with this being right here, so you can move this around? Like, I get it. I do get it. Oh, I do get it. It's rough because literally with Lil Wayne, his shit is basically. I feel like Lil Wayne shit is literally the same, but I don't know. I get what you're saying about the structure of stuff. Because you have this right here, but you have this all the way over here, even though it should make its way over here. But you don't know how to flip it around just yet because you have a couple things in the middle that make a lot of sense to where you at. But you want to make this over here while still keeping this in the middle. It's hard. It's hard. So all the artists out there, let me know if you have this problem with creativity. Musicians, rappers, artists, screenwriters, actors, playwrights. Isn't a screenwriter a playwright? Artists, writers, authors. I'm pretty sure so. Yeah, let me know if y'all have this problem, cause shit, I'm very curious to see if you have this problem too. Cause it's something big. It's something. It's something. But we off of here though. We off of here though. What are you still doing here? I know you see the video. I know you see the video in this right here. What are you still doing here? Come on. Do your shit. Come on. So this video can eat already. You're playing, bro. You got this and you got this. Do your job. But I gotta tell you every time. Fuck.